Welcome to Wisdom to Wealth. This is the podcast where I get to interview the wealthiest entrepreneurs and business owners in the world. I'm your host, Shamar Starcox, TV producer and marketing coach. My goal is to help 6 and 7 figure business owners be able to get seen and get paid with binge-worthy videos on social media. I am also the founder of the Convert Content. I'm also the founder of the Convert Content to Cash Challenge. It didn't want to come out where you can learn how to create content that sells in 5 days or less. So if you want to get access to that challenge, you are a business owner where you're using social media or you want to start using social media to create deep connections with your audience, then go ahead and DM me the word challenge accepted on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn, and I will send you a personal invite. Today we have Myrna Atha. She is a seasoned leader in business, mentorship, and social selling with over 3 decades of experience in the health and wellness industry. As a 7 figure e commerce expert and master of leadership development, she has a proven track record of success in facilitating impactful business building communities and implementing strategies that drive revenue growth. Myrna specializes in mentoring women to reach 6 figures and beyond by leveraging her proven business model and its unlimited earning potential to earn what they truly deserve. And let me tell you, I did a pre interview with Myrna. She has truly blessed my life with her story. So I know her story would transform your lives as well. Myrna, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, it's so awesome to be here. I love being in front of audiences and just, if I can give them like one little piece of something that helps them in life, you know what? I love doing that.
And I know you will because I know you will today for this podcast because I mean, your story alone just blessed me. So I'm not going to hold it anymore. Let's just jump right into it. Tell us, how did you get into doing what you do today?
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I cannot believe it's been 3 decades. Like, because I'm only 30 years old. How did that happen? But needless to say, my husband Mark and I are from Canada originally. So a shout out to my fellow Canadians. We now live here in the US in Scottsdale. And 30 plus years ago, we were 28 years old. We were going through a recession and inflation as well, similar to what we're experiencing right now. And we were in need. I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. We were looking. We needed to find something to get ourselves out of our financial situation. And we found ourselves, with my car parked 3 blocks away. Mark was a realtor. Of course, he wasn't selling any real estate. I was a regional sales manager for Lady Foot Locker. Some of you will remember the Lady Foot Locker stores, and nobody was in the malls spending money. So, we really were in a pickle, if you will. And we thought, gosh, I wonder if there's anything out there that we could do part-time, because we couldn't afford to, quit what we were doing. Even though we weren't making a lot of money at it, but we couldn't just quit. We needed to look for something that we could, weave into our lives, if you will, that could generate an additional income. So off we went on a search, honestly, Star. And we had no idea if there was anything out there. In fact, folks, if you go to my, and we'll drop the links in, but if you go to my website, just myrnaatha.com, you're going to see a side hustle checklist. And I called that way back then in 1994, the wish list. And we actually had more things on it than I've even got on my checklist nowadays. But we just thought, I don't know, maybe there's something out there. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't, but we needed to look. So in the olden days, I feel like your great grandmother, Star, we walked uphill both ways to school, but kind of like that. Nowadays we jump into LinkedIn or other areas in social media to meet people like you and I have done, to look for things, whether it's jobs or businesses, etc. But we had a newspaper back in the day. Some of you remember newspapers. They're still out there today. But we actually ran an ad in the Globe and Mail, which is in Canada. It's like USA Today here in the US. And it was just 3 little lines that said, I'm an aggressive entrepreneur looking for business ideas. And I say we because I have to give my husband, Mark, the credit. He had definitely more of an entrepreneurial spirit than what I did, And, I think that for a lot of people, they go through different times in their life where maybe there's some self-doubt and things like that. I don't know that I had doubts per se, but I didn't ever have an entrepreneur in my life, like in my family at all. And so then I married Mark, who left a job to become a realtor. in a bad economic climate, right? So I was like, oh boy, marrying Mark, I thought, you know what, one day I'll be driving the Volkswagen Beetle, the next day maybe it's going to be a Porsche, and I've had both. So it's all good. But we ran that ad and we received over 300 responses, 300. So I was like, oh my gosh, we set up a PO box. All the stuff was going there. And out of the 300 plus, there was probably about 36 real legitimate business ideas. A lot of folks sent us, I don't know, ideas of their invention that they were creating or had created. They were looking for help from us to market those things. We got a lot of responses from multi-level marketing companies, direct sales companies. And throughout that whole search, you know what? We really didn't find anything, but we became educated. So I guess the first thing I want people to think about today is just being open-minded. You know, when you're open and you become a good listener, you'll really open yourself up to opportunity and to possible change and pivots. You and I were talking about that earlier. But you need to know what's out there and what's available. So that's kind of what happened. And throughout that search, again, we didn't really find anything. We became educated. But I know from you and I chatting that we both believe in divine intervention. And so this is a crazy thing, but of course, you know, we believe it because God brought it to us. And Mark was looking in the newspaper to see where our ad was placed, and right by our ad, he read an ad that said Inc. 500 company, new to Canada, call this phone number. So I thought, oh, I wonder what that's all about. So he called the phone number, and it didn't ring. There was no voice message or any of those things. And he thought, well, that's kind of crazy. It must be some scheme or something, because whoever ran this ad, like the phone number is not even working, right? But for whatever reason, he cut that ad out and he stuck it on the fridge under a magnet. And throughout the course of a week, he called it a couple more times, still no success. And then finally, on the following weekend, I said to him, what are you doing with that ad? He's like, well, you know what? I don't know. I just cut it out. I've been calling it. There's no message. I have no idea. It must be some crazy thing. But I'm going to call it one more time. And he called it. And this time there was the message. And it was a gal. And she said, hi, my name is Kim. Please leave your name and number. So Mark just said, hey, Kim, I don't know if this is you and you ran this ad, but I've been calling it all week. And if it is you, you know, give me a shout back. So she called him back and started chatting with him. And he's like, well, what happened? Like, why has there been no message all week? Well, way back in the day, you used to be able to pay for what they called a ghost voicemail, which wouldn't ring anywhere, but people could leave messages. You would call in, pick up your messages. And for whatever reason, the phone company messed up and didn't get her number attached while the ad was running. So they ended up paying for the ad that she ran in the newspaper. And Mark is the only person that ever left her a message. Well, that was $18 million ago for us. $18 million ago, right? So why did he keep calling it? You know, because the Lord was telling them, I guess, to keep that ad and to keep calling it. And so here we are today. You know, I guess we became students and we just went out there and we thought, you know what is out there? What's available? And you know what? We did our homework. So, you know, for those of you that are listening in, if you're thinking, okay, well, what's some of my takeaways? I would say, first of all, if you're looking for a pivot, a complete pivot, or during this time that we find ourselves where inflation is just kicking us in the butt, and you're wondering what is out there, you know, what could I do? Do your homework, because I see so many people, you know what, honestly, Star, I hate to say this, but especially women, you know, they run to this shiny object, right? And they think, oh, I'm going to go do this, or I'm going to go sell this because, you know, I like jewelry. Well, I like jewelry too, but like, how much jewelry does a girl need? You know what I'm saying? Okay. So do your homework, because there's a lot of great viable businesses out there, but there's a lot of stuff too that might be not so viable or not the right fit for you. And that's truly where I can help people as well.
Oh, I just love your story. And I always love when you say, and $18 million later. Like, I feel like that really drives home the point. Because here you and your husband calling this random number, don't even know what it's about, what it's going to work, if it's going to work. But like you said, it was a divine intervention. Like, you were headed down one path and God totally redirected both of you. And now you have this successful business. And it's not just successful because of the wealth, but it's also successful because of the people that you get to help and the
Oh my
people that
gosh.
you serve.
Yes, you know what? So I throw that out there, and certainly not to boast or brag, but I want people to that are listening and to know we figured it out. Okay, I mean, just the people that I've personally one-on-one mentored, they've earned over $22 million. So it's not just us and our team collectively. It's over $135 million. So, you know, Mark used to always say this, and I still say it today. I don't need to be the smartest kid in the class, or I didn't need to be, because, you know, as a kid, I was definitely not the smartest kid in the class. I just sat beside the smartest kid in the class and copied all their notes. Now, back in grade school, that was called cheating. In today's world, that's called mentoring, right? Because you know what? If you have someone to follow that's got an action plan in place for your success, you can absolutely win. And you know, I think there's a big difference, Star, between a coach and a mentor. Because a coach, you know, and I've got so many friends that are coaches, and I have a great gal that's kind of my coach as well. Her name's Kiv Evans. She's amazing. But there's somebody that holds you accountable. You know, somebody that you can throw things off of and whatnot. And I'm talking, of course, about a business coach. But a mentor is more often than not somebody you pay. So I see people spend all kinds of money going to seminars, paying coaches, and they still nothing changes, right? A mentor is someone who's running alongside you, that sees something in you, and they're not saying pay me. So that's what I do. I'm free, okay? You know, if you join my team, I'm going to mentor you for free. I'm going to be right beside you every step along the way because I've done it. I just need to teach you how to do it and do it with you to help you be successful. And so I love mentoring people. It fills me up for sure.
Oh, I just love that. I think that's so amazing. Even when you said I'm free, to me, there was just so many levels to it, right? Because when you started even before you guys started your business, you were working, you said, as a manager for Ladies Foot Locker. And then, you said it was inflation. And there was a lot that was going on, probably mindset wise, limiting beliefs wise. And now you are here, like you said, $18 million later, but you are free, like internally from the
Yes.
mindsets, internally from anything that was keeping you bound so that you can be able to set others free and help them too. So let's talk a little bit about the mindsets. Like, what limiting beliefs did you have when it came to going into this type of business that you had, and how were you able to push through?
Sure. Well, I think the first limiting belief, honestly, was like, is there anything out there? I mean, truly, right? Because, you know, everybody tells you, oh, you can do this, you can do that. I mean, all these great things, right? You can wrap things up in a really pretty bow, no matter what it is. But when we put our list of things together, it was really important that like if anything was missing, and we had about a dozen things on that list actually, we didn't do it because it might look good because of, I don't know, this, that, or the other thing. But then it was like, well, but really, like, okay, I'll use jewelry again as an example. You know, of course we love jewelry. Who doesn't love jewelry? But as far as a business, like, would I want to be out there selling jewelry during a recession or during tough economic times? I mean, it's not a necessity, right? So I guess my initial limiting beliefs were, what is out there? Like, what would that be that people need no matter what? And through research and looking at all these different ideas, I realized, you know what? It's everyday consumer goods. Because it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. I'm still, well, my dishwasher just finished. Okay. And I got a load of laundry going. Like, I'm still using those kinds of things. Whereas if it's something that's not tangible like that, then it's not, I'm always having to dig for a new customer, right? Or a new person to service. So that was the first thing. And then I guess the second thing was, can I do it? You know, do I have the skill set? And so I quickly realized I did, to be honest with you. I quickly realized it because with our business, it's all about building relationships and simply educating others. And there's so much social proof. I mean, I could introduce you to dozens, if not hundreds and thousands of people that we've worked with that have success. The only people that don't have success, I suppose, are the ones that just stop, right? But you know what? That was really important to look at the numbers, to see regular people like ourselves having success. And success is different for different people, right? So for us initially, we thought, gosh, if we could make 1,000 or so a month, and again, we're talking 1994. I think that would be even a lot of money now today in 2025. But we thought that would be great. But we immediately, in our first few weeks of starting our business, met people that had already done that and done it in a short period of time. So we thought, well, what have they got on us? Why can't we do it? I mean, the people that mentored us said, this is what you do and this is how you do it. So they said, if you're coachable and if you have heart and if your why is big enough. So that's the other thing too, Star, is, why can't just be to make money, right? It has to be deeper. It has to be, if someone says to me, I want to make $2,000 a month, I say, great. Now, but what's that 2,000 going to do for you? So for a lot of moms, they're like, well, you know what? That would allow me to stay or take my kids out of daycare and be at home, because daycare nowadays, oh my gosh, like the cost of putting your children in any sort of childcare is astronomical. So it's like, what would that $2,000 do for you? So let's say they make $4,000 a month at work, but they're spending $2,000 a month on daycare. Well, if they got rid of that daycare, right? See, so it can really, really significantly impact people.
Yeah, I just love this. I love that you talked about like some of the mindsets. One, do I have the skills? And I think oftentimes people ask themselves this question, but then they end up getting stuck right there. Like they don't push past to see if they already have the skills, and
Right.
really what they're using is transferable skills. So I'm happy you didn't get stuck there.
Yeah, you're nailing it. You're nailing it, because that's really what I look for. And I love meeting people on the LinkedIn platform, especially because they have such great skill sets. And there's so many different professions that transfer really well to what we do. So it's a matter of taking that skill set and going, okay, well, how would that apply over here? And it's magical to see what people do, really.
I love that. Oh, so good. And one big thing too is the conversations that you get to have with people. Because like even talking about that why, I went live today and I was talking to my audience, and that was the thing that I asked them. I said, what is your why for starting your business? Like that why is what's going to sustain you, especially through the frustrating days. Because being an entrepreneur is no joke. Like I never really wanted to be an entrepreneur. I technically wanted to become the CEO of NBC and maybe possibly build a business up on the side. That was my dreams. But God was like, no, we're just going to have you quit your job and you'll do entrepreneurship full time. And I'm not going to front. Sometimes I went kicking and screaming like, who decides to become an entrepreneur? It's bizarre. But focusing on that why did I start my business? Who do I get to help? Who do I get to
Yes.
serve? Right. And then when the people are coming and you're serving them and they're getting the transformation, it really is rewarding. So I love that you talked about that. So speaking of transformation, let's talk about how you're able to help others achieve wealth in their own business, and really achieve their business goals when they're working with you.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? I mean, truly, after 3 decades, we have a complete system for success in place. So when I have somebody new that I'm working with, it's like, okay, here's what I need you to do. I got a little homework for you. So I give them, a couple hours of homework, and then we get back together and we do what I call a strategy session. So, step by step by step. And that's how we help people. You know what? We've got something that with our system for success that everybody can plug into. And again, most people are busy. I mean, I don't run into anybody that's sitting around twiddling their fingers going, oh, geez, I wish I could just become an entrepreneur like that. That's not happening, right? So when you've got something that people can truly plug into, and whether they have 5 hours a week or 10 hours a week or 15 hours a week, you can tell them this is what we're going to do with the 5 hours. And this is how I'm going to do it with you. Not here's the manual, go figure it out. right? Because that's, again, a big problem out there. A lot of people talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk, right? So again, that's where you got to do your homework. And I feel so good about when I have introduced people to other people or new people to people I'm already mentoring. Um, they truly can never say that I'm not there for them. I show up. Again, to me, a leader is someone who shows up. I mean, I've canceled trips, vacations, all kinds of things, because if I have someone new join my team and they need my time, they're going to get my time, because I can vacation anytime, right? I've got the freedom to do that. So I think it's really important that, again, you ask a lot of the right questions to see who is going to mentor you. What systems are in place for you to plug into? How can that work for your schedule? Because again, as an entrepreneur, most people are, it's not what 12 hours a day they're working. Right? It's like they're working 24 hours a day. So again, you've got to have things where you're helping them and possibly helping people that they're bringing on board as well. So again, we have it all set up. I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of play.
I love that you're so focused on mentorship and how you really help, right? Because there is a culture where people are trying to get that passive income where they don't have to do anything and the money just keeps coming. And I'm like, okay, your money has to be active before it becomes passive. I also see like this thing where everybody just wants to create a digital e-course so that they don't actually have to sit with anyone and mentor anyone. And they're expecting to make so much money from that. And I'm like, you got to invest in the people. You want them to invest in you, but you don't want to invest in the people.
Yes.
But it's because of this social media culture of like, just launch an e-course and make millions of dollars. And I'm like, probably, but go ahead. I feel like you want to say something.
You don't get me started. Okay. So you know what I think, Star, is that maybe it's since COVID, maybe it's before, but I feel like we've lost the art of conversation. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and for everybody listening in, again, you know what? Reach out and let's talk. Let's just have conversation. It's not about selling people or trying to get people or any of those kinds of things. It's just have conversation with people, because again, you don't know who they know, where it's going to take you. Don't be afraid. Don't hide behind your device. And I think that a lot of people, and not necessarily on purpose, like I think it's just kind of happened to a lot of folks as well. I have people on my team where all they want to do is get on Zooms. Like they don't want to go have lunch with anybody or coffee with anybody or go for a walk with anybody, for heaven's sakes. I mean, I love incorporating my business into my life, whether it's at the gym. I just thought, going for a walk, going for lunch, coffee, going to a networking event. Heaven forbid you do one that's in person rather than just online. Now, and again, I'm not poo-pooing social media or Zoom, because here we are today. And I love the fact that we get to meet people from all over the world now and do this. But don't forget the other part of it. There's never been a higher rate of depression in our country than what's going on right now. People don't have that social connection with people in person, and it's really affecting so many. I mean, think about the kids that had to stay home during lockdown, right? A lot of them have really struggled because of that. So get out there, and get on Zoom and meet people and look them in the eye and do all those things for sure.
Oh man, I just thought that was so powerful. I have a business mentor, and I remember she said to me, you got to get out there, start networking with people in person. I'm so accustomed to networking with people online. I've made best friends online,
Yep.
great friends, clients, all of that. But prior to online, I would network in person. I would actually teach people how to network in person, because that's how I was able to build a successful career. And then everything shifted to online. And then she was telling me to go back to in person. And I remember when she was telling me, I just had this tightness in my chest. Like, I don't want to do that. Like, why can't I just send a DM? Why can't I just send them a voice note? Right. Like, I love how the internet has connected us all around the world, but there is a benefit to both. Where networking can help you connect locally with people, the internet can help you connect globally with people. You really want both, so that you're leveraging both when it comes to building your business. So I really like that she talked about that. And also just the human connections. There are some people where you're not going to catch them online. they really are offline. They much prefer to get to know you in person. And honestly, I like to call that the fun stuff when it comes to building a business. Like last month, I got a chance to go to Atlanta and meet a lot of the people that I've been talking to online. We got to meet in person. We went out to eat. We shot content together. And it was just so rewarding. It didn't feel like work. It felt like I was on vacation. When
Yeah.
I came back to actual work, I was like, man, this feels different.
I love that. You know, it's so true. I actually was so funny. A couple of days ago, I connected with a gal on LinkedIn, and she lives like about 20 minutes from me. So it was so funny. Like she very suspiciously said, like, you know, why did you connect with me? I said, well, because you live up the road. Like it's kind of cool that on LinkedIn I can actually search, you know, Arizona and or Phoenix area, whatever, and find people. She's like, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. I didn't realize you could search that on LinkedIn. So she realized like I wasn't a creeper or anything like that. You know, it's so funny.
I
Oh,
love that. And it's being intentional, right? Like people aren't
yes.
thinking of using social media in that way. Like I've met close friends online
Yeah.
who live close by. I didn't know they live close by, but we meet online and then we're able to meet in person too. So, and then having friends all over the city, right? Like that's
Mhm.
something that's super important too. So I really love that you talked about that. And those who are tuning in and just gleaning from what you're sharing, how is it that they can work with you? And as you're speaking, I'll go ahead and drop your links in the chat.
Okay, awesome, awesome. All right. So again, don't be scared. Okay, I'm really not that scary. Okay, so connect with me. You can go to, well, first you can go to myrnaatha.com, and on there you can find my side hustle checklist, which is really cool. Obviously, I'm all over LinkedIn, guys. That's really where you're going to find me. So message me on LinkedIn, follow me on LinkedIn. Actually, tomorrow, this is kind of crazy. I know it's short notice, but tomorrow is Thursday. At 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we're doing something I do once a month called our Blueprint for Success. And what we're doing is sharing with people what we do, but how they can leverage their contacts on LinkedIn to build a repeat income. And I like to call it repeat income rather than passive, like you were saying, Star, because, you know, passive, well, I mean, if you have tons of money in the bank and you invest well, I guess that can be passive income, right? But really, it's repeat income with repeat effort. And so we teach people exactly how we've built that and how we're helping others do it, again, specifically for that LinkedIn profile. You can register and you'll get the link to jump on Zoom with me tomorrow. And actually, Mark's going to be there as well. So you get to meet Mark. And then the other thing is just book in on my calendar with me. You know what? Let's grab a Zoom, have a coffee, chit chat. You can ask me absolutely anything you want. And you know what I do might not be the right fit for you, but chances are, you know what, you'll glean something from our conversation or things to think about or what might be a good fit for you. But just don't be shy. You know, just step out of your comfort zone.
I love that. And I feel like that's the biggest message. Step outside of your comfort zone because it's when you step outside your comfort zone that you get to see like really big results and do things that you never thought that you would actually do. So I
100%.
love that. I dropped your links in the chat for everyone to access. If you're tuning in for the replay, you can get access to her links on YouTube and LinkedIn because we're going to make sure we drop them in the comments. And so before we actually wrap up this episode, I have one last question for you, Myrna. And
Okay.
that is what is the one decision that you made that completely took your business to the next level?
What's the one decision that I made that took things to the next level? You know, that's such a great question. I think it was making little decisions along the way. But also you talked about mindset, Star, and I think that it was changing my mindset, realizing that I could be more, I could do more. And that decision has changed everything. You know, I mean, because like I said, my limiting belief when I started was, is there something out there? I kind of thought that I would work for someone my whole life, like because I didn't have that entrepreneurial spirit, if you will. And I think I overthought it. I just overthought that. You know, I didn't realize that there really could be a perfect fit for me to do on my own, where I could be my own boss. And, you know, I was lying in bed this morning and thinking how great it is just to be able to not have an alarm. Like sleep till you don't want to sleep anymore. Like everyone think about that. Just to be able to sleep until you don't want to sleep anymore. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, just getting rid of the limiting mindset and realizing that there are wonderful people and wonderful things in the world, and just being open to, I guess, doing that journey, jump on the journey, and take a look at what's a good option for you and what's available.
Oh, so good. First of all, I do that only on Sundays. Now you're talking about doing it on the weekdays to just sleep with no alarm. Like that is amazing. But what you're talking about is really having the life that you desire to have. I think oftentimes we box ourselves in with this is what society says,
Yeah.
especially for women. This is what society says for women. And then we don't allow ourselves to step outside of that box. So I really love that you talked about that. And my favorite part was it wasn't just one major decision, it was a snowball effect. It was tiny decisions along the way that got you to that big decision. So I feel like you're just giving us permission to make decisions and pivot. It's okay to pivot because not everything's going to work out the way you expected the first time around. So I
So
really love that you shared that. Myrna, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today on the Wisdom to Wealth podcast. Thanks to all of you who joined us. We do have some people on Instagram who are like, thank you, Darren. House of Africa. She's heading over there to follow you on LinkedIn now. So we're super happy that you were able to be a trusting to us. Thanks to all of you who are able to tune in today. We do have one more episode for the week tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern. It's a solo episode and it's called I Said No to a 13.5K Raise to Follow a Six-Figure Calling. So we'll see you again tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern, Thursday. Y'all have a great day.
bye now.